This next little session I have here, and I only have a short amount of time, but one of the things I wanted to do, and I wanted to explain what happens, is as paint builds up, what's happened is we've built up paint on the bottom surface here, paint here, and paint here. So we've added 4 thicknesses of paint. And now you can see that the back of the fuselage doesn't fit right. So I have to grind just a little bit of way up here. And this is one of the things that takes a little bit of patience, because I want to just get that fit so it just goes back to where it was before I had put the paint on. What I'm making up for is the fact that we have 4 layers of paint. Now front to back, this joint is fine, but back here we need to account for the thickness of the paint. And this is one of the things that just takes a little bit of time, but I like to do this on an ongoing basis. Every time I put the plane, well, in this case I wanted to fit the tail and make sure all my stuff was fit. I hadn't built up too much paint along the way here, because the next step on all of these parts is going to be to put the clear on. And I want the fits real close so we don't have to redo this 4, 5, 6 times. Now, this is very similar to doing a fitting on a piece of sheetrock, because I look for the hard spot. In this case, it's right along here, and each time I'm going through this, I'm being very careful just to take out the thickness of the paint. And at some point in time, we should have our original fit back. Now what happens if you let this go to the very end of the build, then you've got to do too much at once. It really gets, gets to be a lot more work. It's a lot easier if you can do it in bites, little bites and pieces. And there's no secret, it's just putting it on, seeing where the hard spot is. In this case, it's still back right on that edge, and just take some more material off. Now see, what makes this difficult is we lined these edges with 60-foot plywood so that they would hold the edge, but now it's a little more work grinding away at it than it would be if we just left it balsa wood. Just one of the little idiosyncrasies of making a take-apart plane, that maintaining it fits all through the build. And this is one time we want to get that fit along the edge, and this fit where it comes up here to be as tight as possible, so that when we put the clear on, we don't have to go back and redo this over and over and over again. Okay, now we've got, I'd say, 3/4 of it. We still need a little more. And this is the thing, it's just a back and forth, taking material away until that fit just drops right in there. Now when I want to find the spot where this is, let's call it the hard spot, I don't want to force, one thing I don't want to do is force it. I can see I've got clearance, and I'm missing clearance. Clearance right here on this side. So it's this side that's the hard side. Right here is where it's pressing down. And this is where, right around the horn, it can build up paint right in that little notch. This is one of these little jobs that's just time consuming, and that's why I picked a time right now to take care of this, because I don't want to do this after the final finish is on. What happens, it's right in that corner that I'm picking up a hard spot. And this is good. Hey, this is good practice in case you ever want to go into sheetrock business. It just takes, right now, I'm within 1 thickness of sandpaper having this to where I might even be happy with it. Now, of course, it would be easier if you were doing this from raw wood and you could mask this off and not paint it, but then the problem with that would be, if you did it that way, oil or wax or grease or whatever would get in there. Now, it's the same way when we go back and fit the wing into the fuselage, which we're not going to do today. But when we get the final fit on that, is to take a piece of paper, and if it's an all perfect world, you have a clearance, see up here, clearance, 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 clearance. We get back here and it's tight. Let me see if I can show this up closer. See where the paper is free, 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 and right there it's tight. So I know it's right in the very back here. I'm a couple of swipes of sandpaper away from having this really, really nicely fit. Now the trade-off is when you do these edges with soft balsa, it's a lot easier to grind away at them, but then you run the risk that you're going to have a problem. This way we're kind of like paying up front, I guess. And we're looking for just to be able to slide a piece of paper in there when we're done. That's about as close as we're going to get it. So we're one little step ahead, and I'm glad I spent, this took longer than I thought it would. But you know what? It's just these little details. Anytime I could spend a little part of a session and get one of these little details ironed out, just the overall fit of the plane will be better. Now, wherever we've sanded away to paint, it's a great little trick. If you have any black trim on a plane, just hit it with a black ink marker. That'll be a lot thinner than a coat of black dope. And when we put clear on here, of course, we're going to just try to minimize the amount of clear that goes on there. One thing I learned with the Tiger Cat, keep an ink marker in the toolbox. It's a nice little way to just, as long as you're going to put clear on it. Now that was really something that I think is going to get us just nicer fits in the final product, and that's what I'm after. Now, because these fits, these are one of the defining features in a model, and now that I have the bolt in place, it seems like a small detail until you think about it. That's going to be a fit that no matter how I do this, I'm going to have to account for 4 layers of dope. 1, 2, 3, 4 to keep that fit. And it's this material. I don't want to change the stab. I don't want to grind away at the stab. I want to take all the clearance out of this area. And that may seem like an inconsequential thing, but in this case, I think well, it's important to me anyway. And I remember Sergei Belko's, the fits on Sergei Belko's plane. When I had it in my cellar here and we were looking at it, I just looked at it and I couldn't believe it wasn't an incline. And he took out his little Allen wrench and took the plane all apart for me. Amazing. I think Sergei goes down in history as being the best at these fits. Plus, here's another thing to keep in mind, and this is something I think is really important. We're going to be putting a clear on this very soon, maybe in the next couple of days, and I want each coat of clear to really dry out. And so what a lot of people do is they try to get the clear all on in one day. That's, to me, that always adds more weight than it should, I think, because you don't let everything gas out. We're going to try to do this in several thin coats. But in the meantime, what I want to have is while coats are drying out, I can be redoing, and I just wanted to show these fits. I don't need to show that on every other part. It would work the same if you had a cowling. But I wanted to look at this now, and because I haven't had this all in one piece like this, and we're not going to put the wing in But I wanted to see if there was any other detailing I wanted to do on a fuselage that would bring it into the family resemblance that we're looking for. I was thinking about maybe putting a little Ferrari decal up on a nose, maybe. I don't know, but that's one of the things I'm going to look at and just try to make a decision on that in the next hour or so. And that's about all the time we're going to have here. Now what I wanted to see is if I'm going to like having this. This is just kind of to try and tie it into the other Ferrari planes. Now the problem with that is it's too low. Not even sure I like this. Yeah, not sure if I'm going to like this or not. But the nice thing about decals, until you put clear over them, you can move them around. Yeah, I think we're going to skip that. Not sure I like this. See, this is the thing about decals. You can maneuver them around, and if you don't like them, you're not married to them. This is funny. I went back and forth 6 times before I made a decision to either leave it there, because I wanted to tie it into our other Ferrari planes. And I always thought that was kind of one of the defining features of our Ferrari planes, having a little, that's the emblem of Ferrari, Scuderia Ferrari. Not a good news. If I decide to change that, nah, I want to leave it on. See, I didn't want to busy up the whole body. I didn't even want to put my name under the cockpit here. I have a decal that says Pilot Wendy Ertnowski. I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to busy it up so much. I wanted to keep this looking a little bit different than some of the planes that I think just get a little too busy. Too many stars, too many stripes. I got to make sure these are on. They're symmetrical. And the last thing of the day, just before I quit, see, today's going to be one of those crazy days. Before I quit, I'll shoot a little bit of clear just over the decal. I can go on that decal, take the tail off, we get the tail fit. This was a good little productive session. Well, it's already dark out there, but we're going to get this clear on. And that's it for today. The idea is just to get some clear on these decals, and it'll sit over. And I wanted to get some down on the white striping and on the decals. idea is just to bury that little white stripe. See how our canopy's starting to look. But you won't really see the real result until that's out in the sunlight. And we're just trying to bury the stuff, bury the white lines and the decals in clear. See, the idea is I don't want to give the whole part a coat of clear. I don't want to build up the weight. I just want the clear where it's going to be, where I'm going to need to bury stuff. The decals and the white lines. I may want to put just a little more highlights in the cockpit. I'm not sure. Need to see that with, well, again, we can adjust that very easily if we want to, just by back masking and putting a tiny highlight on there. Same as the lettering, by the way. And the lettering out in the sun, that looks spectacular. But you're not going to see that unless it's out in the sun. So the real issue is that I want to see it in the sun before I make a final commitment and put all the clear on. And all the decals have one extra coat. And I notice there's nothing, I'm not painting the whole part, just where the decals are. So where the decals are, there'll be 8, 10, 15 coats of clear, but out here there'll only be 2 or 3. And that's one of the ways you can keep the weight down, and yet all of the stuff that you want to bury is in clear. And that's definitely the end of this session. We got to do our email and see if we got any important things, like a message from Midgley that he's coming down, because we don't know when he's coming down. I mean, with his new business, he's had to cancel 2 or 3 times already. Here's some pictures from our good friend Mr. Green, who, among other things, has been enjoying watching windy videos and has started a Spitfire. Can't hate you for that, not one bit. That's really nice. Look at this paint job. Hey, we're working, look, he's got a Strega kind of paint job. We're working with decals and all kinds of stuff, inking and clearing and everything right now. So, hey, I hope, well, he's going to be borrowing the molds to do a Spitfire top and bottom, so we just need to go find a big box so we can mail him out the molds. Anyway, thanks for sharing the pic. Nice canopy, by the way. It's even got the windy canopy on it. That's pretty cool. That is definitely cool. This is the photo we want you to send us pretty soon, Bob. Bob Green attends Brodex. Come on down. That was pretty cool about the aviation. This is from Jim Southworth. Look at some of these pictures. This looks like the Swiss aerobatic team. I don't know how to pronounce their name. It's on the title, but these are some pretty neat pictures here. Now, if you're looking for a unique paint job, hey, this might be it. Look at the picture closer. You got the pictures here, the people standing there. I wonder if that's like a John Pothier Photoshop, or if that's a real picture with the knife edge in it. Pretty cool. Oh, look how close they're getting to the people now. See, they wouldn't do that in the United States, I don't think. That is a cool bottom of the paint job, a big Swiss cross. Very cool. Some good stuff in the email tonight. Ah, that's really cool. Now, I wish I knew where this was. See, there was no, I didn't get any documentation on this. All right, I see what it is now. They're in a ski center. They're in a ski area, and they're all at the top of the mountain watching these guys do their thing. Here we got inverted flight. I'm just so surprised they're getting that close to the ground and the mountain and everything. That's pretty unique. Then we're waiting to see how many guys get here today to work. They're going to put the limestone cap on the privacy wall today. That's one of their objectives, and do some more landscaping in front of the house. But we're going to try to get these. We got a little more inking to do on the wing, and maybe if it warms up it's supposed to warm up the next couple of days, get some clear on. And one of the things I wanted to do, I got a pen, one of the pens with white ink, and because this kind of faded, it really didn't stay as white as I'd like it to. I want to outline this just to give it a little accent, and I have a pen with some white ink on for that. Now, believe it or not, getting a pen that used to have black ink in it at one point in time, totally clean to where the white ink doesn't come out gray, is a lot more of a job than you think it is. Actually, it is a lot of job. A lot of work, but we're going to try. And a lot of times you just have to clean it 3 or 4 times, which is what I'm trying to do here, because white ink is white ink is white ink. It's difficult at best. And I want it to come out white, not gray. And sometimes you just got to clean it 3 or 4 times. Or the cheesy way to do it is just start with a pen that's never had black ink in it. In this case, that's not an option. Yeah, I still gotta, I've cleaned this once already today, and I'm gonna clean it again. There's just no justice in life. But to get it to come out white, it's gonna take a little work. And no matter how many times you clean this, it seems like it's still a little bit of that black ink in there. But I'm determined. Well, if all else fails, I got to pull the whole tip of the pen apart. Now, what it may not seem obvious is just having this little edge around, that it's a bright color white instead of subdued. I think it's going to add a little bit to our badging. There's the little needle that goes. It looks like a little drug dealer needle. And what I'll do, because I have this all apart, is just take everything and clean it with Windex. I don't want to get the parts dirty. Let me put this over here. This is probably something not many people. You're going to have to do this some point in time if you want to spray white ink, that's for sure. Now what I do, I just take the end of this. But once you can do, the best thing of course is take a brand new pen that's never had ink in it and put white ink, leave it in. Don't take it out. But even if you do this, cleaning it with Windex, if you pull it all apart, the pens of course come apart. See, you can see why it's not coming out the way it should. And Windex does a pretty good job of dissolving that. You know how it's coming out black? Well, that's why our white ink isn't coming out white. Or as white as I like. Now the original choice was we were going to put double decals there. We have a white background to put them on. I didn't want to do that. That brings it to where it's way too thick in my estimation. And I want to have my little badges. I want to make a little template to go around them because it's that little razor edge that, and your eye doesn't know it. And all of a sudden you look at it and you go, wow, ooh, that looks nice. Now we got that hopefully pretty clean. Now it's coming out clean. Now the needle is the next thing. And even if you're not going to do white ink on the plane you're working on now, it's nice to see how to do it just in case you decide you want to do one of those navy planes or something where it's dark color. Okay, you got the tip. You got to very carefully put the needle in, very carefully. That's the hard part. There it goes. You need a little cap, which in this case I want to rinse. Now, for some people this would be a lot more work than they really want to do, but you know, think about something for a minute. If this plane is as good as I hope it is, and I'm hoping I get many years of enjoyable service out of it, this time will get lost in the mix. That little cap goes on the back, and we got our part that goes on the back here. Is that nice and clean? Oh, let's clean it anyway. We'll get a clean towel out here so we don't get this all over the ports. And the reason I wanted to show this is just in case somebody wants to put a couple of borders. And also another thing you can use the white ink for if we need to touch up the white stripe in some way. Now, they make a little tool for that, but of course you can use pliers, just don't tighten it down too tight. And I want to get some fresh white ink, so I may as well clean this out too. Now I got my box with the white ink. In this case, one of the ones that I had that was working is dried up. Where's the good one? This is the good one. It's the one we used on a tiger cat. You got to shake. White ink is pigmented ink. You got to shake it constantly before you put it in. Fortunately, it has a little eyedropper that now this, granted, is going to be a very small detail in the overall model, but the badging on this model is going to be small, but I want it to be exactly what I want it to be, because it is one of the defining features. Now we've got hopefully a clean pen tip. And now it's time to see if it's your lucky day. Is it going to write? Clean some of this up a little bit. And it's writing in Windex for the first 10 minutes. That's only a matter of time. They can't. There we go. Little by little. Okay. Now granted, all these little accent lines, they're small, but I think when it comes to detailing anything, and the trick with white ink is to give it 2 coats. Put a coat of white ink on, let it dry, go back, if you can in between, give it a light coat of clear. Now you can hardly probably see it on the video, but that is a substantial difference in real life. Now even these little, the smaller the details are, sometimes the more they jump out at you. And this is one of them that, because we didn't put the white background, it kind of faded. But I think this is going to do it. And what I'll do is I'll give this a coat of clear, then come back and give it an extra little, give it an extra little amount. And that, I think that'll show in the final product for sure. Now we've been watching the weather like a hawk, and it's supposed to be, not today, but the next 2 days, supposed to be way above freezing. Can you imagine how lucky can a boy be? And we're going to try to take advantage of that by, we can get a little more clear over the decals, and then those two days, unless the contractors are out there killing us, we can get the bulk of our clear on the model. Now, as soon as I want to fire up the compressor, and I'll do it while I get some other stuff and do it all at once, I'll be ready for a coat of clear, and then I'll put another coat of white on, another coat of clear, so that'll be buried in there. Well, it actually looks like it may get nice today. But the next 2 days after, they're supposed to be even better. I even hear some birds here. This is unbelievable. Now what I'm doing is I'm still putting it into clear on selectively. I haven't cleared the whole part yet. Just trying to bury the decals and bury the white lines. You know, it's still cold enough that several times a day we have to chop this ice. It's disgusting. This is the story of this winter. But it's going to warm up next 2 days. Now what I want to do is I want to make a little template up out of 64th plywood so that I can put an accent black edge around this. And what I need to do is cut one of these out and trace it onto 64th plywood and make a just a like a donut. So this will be my inking template. I might even have one of these if I looked. No, I was pretty sure I had a template because I outlined, I'm sure, this is for the bigger one. This is for the larger size. I got to make one for the smaller size. Now I could make it this way with that I go around the outside, or I can make it that I go around the inside. It doesn't really matter. I thought I had one. Nope. Alright, good excuse to show how to make one. When you want to do custom badging and you want to have a little accent line, granted most people don't care about this, but you know what, I want to have that accent line a little bit darker. Also I don't want to see that white around the edge. That's one of the other things. And when I have that razor thin pen, and if I make a good template, I'll be able to cover that up. And then it'll just pop a lot better than with that very thin line. And it'll only take 10-15 minutes to make up the template and get it all ready to go. Now I guess we want the grain going this way. It doesn't really matter. And I think it's going to be easier to make this on the inside, so I'll have a way to hold this. Now we just got to get a brand new number 11 blade and cut right on the inside, leaving that line on there. And then we'll be able to trace right around that, giving it a nice accent. But again, I wouldn't do this until I had clear over the decal before I tried to put ink on it. Okay, now we got to dress that off with some fine sandpaper so we don't get the pen going. Just get a nice smooth edge and then get the tape on the opposite side. It won't matter which side since it's symmetrical. And that'll be our template. Now usually 3 layers of tape with just about a 1/16 of an inch relief, and then we'll be able to just trim off the extra and we'll have us a little template. And we'll save it, so if we do another Ferrari plane, we don't have to do this over again. It should be ready to test out. And even just that little accent, I think that really makes a difference. Next thing is to get a quick coat of clear on that, of course. And then one of the things I want to do, I want to get a little more silver accent down the center of the canopy. Just a little bit. And that can vary back and forth, because if I get too much of an accent, then I can just put some more blue on it. Okay, I shot a little clear on it. That's got to dry. And then the next thing is I want to backmask the canopy, and I just want to shoot just the slightest bit of a highlight right across the top. I want that to be a little more of a highlight. I have the little badges that I can do on the wing while I'm waiting for this to dry. And it's looking like it's going to be a day to be no problem at all putting clear on outside if we get to that point. But I'm not going to rush it. I want to do the same thing here. Outline the badges with the razor fine pen so that all the badges have the same look. It's very, very fine how that is. I want it to stand out just a little bit more. And again, we're at this point, we're just looking for tiny details that maybe your eye doesn't even see most of the time, but it knows they're there. And even these little razor thin lines, when this is done, it pops just a little bit more. Now up to this point, we're just getting extra clear on the decals. Some of the spots that I know I want to bury in clear, like those white lines, we have not put a coat of clear, a real clear on anything yet. You can see that the color in the sun is real nice. I like the color in the sun. Karen loves it. I hear birds. What's going on out here? You think it was spring? It's 28 degrees and there's birds around here. I hear birds. Hey, birds. Yes, it's going to be nice and warm tomorrow and the day after. It'll be above freezing. And Windy will feed you profusely. And next step is just going to let this dry. Next thing I want to do is the fuselage, but that's sitting up by the heating vent. I got to backmask the whole fuselage, of course. Well, I want to make sure those little spots of clear are good and dry. With the heating vent, that won't be long. And we're starting to get all our decals buried and clear. Now the problem with this is you can't really see it unless you're in direct sunlight. When you're in subdued light or fluorescent light, this color, because it's a translucent color, doesn't come across the way it should. And I know the day we did it, it looked pretty good, but I can make it better. And the thing is now I just need to backmask it while I have bright sun out there. It'll allow me to get just enough of that B25 sparkly silver on there. And if you get too much, it's just as bad as not enough. It's a balancing act to get it on there. And then the trick is, while it's backmasked, get one coat of clear on there. Because the clear changes the color also. You're dealing with with these colors, the Brodak Candy Apple Blue and the B25 Silver. What you're dealing with is a lot of translucent and there's a lot of pearl in that B25 silver too. So this would be the best to do on a bright sunny day. It'll take me 10 minutes or so to back mask it up. We'll use the airbrush, and then while it's nice and shiny out there, just shoot a coat of clear. And see, we can do this over and over again too. This is the point I wanted to make. Once you paint a canopy, since it's a small area, we don't care if it has 10 extra coats of clear on it or more paint. We're going to bury that in paint anyway. Okay, I got to put the silver, B25 silver in the airbrush, and we're ready to go. Now this look, of course, could change infinitely right up to the day that we put the clear on the whole part, but right now it looks pretty good. But I just want the highlight to be better. I want a little more of a highlight here. And what I want to do now is just let this dry a minute or so, and then bury it in a coat of clear, and it'll definitely change the color when I do that. All I want to do is get a coat to blend this in. That's getting windy out. Now I'm not sure you're going to see this on the video, but that is now more like my vision was. And it's constantly changing now. I was off, and I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. That's a lot more like it. This is going to have to dry overnight, and we'll pull the tape off. And with the heating vent on, yeah, we're still gonna let it dry overnight. We got errands to run today anyway. But I'm much happier with the way the canopy looks now than I was as I look back and forth at the other canopies. I wanted to have that family resemblance. Now we are coming up on this great, well, I don't believe it till I see it, but they said next couple days it's going to be warmer and warmer. We may even go above freezing. We may even go to 35. You never know. But I wanted to start. I want to take this tin foil off real carefully. make sure and I am a lot happier with the way this is all playing out now. It really does have a different look. I think it's a nicer look. And again, anytime I put lacquer on, I always want, even a small amount, I always want it to dry overnight so I get that crisp edge. Even though I didn't spray that really definitively. Now it could be that at some point in time we'll want to darken this or lighten it up depending on how this is going to play out. But that's the nice thing about doing it this way. You can make it pretty variable right up until the point you put the final clear on, and we're not going to be doing that today. So I can get a day and I can look at this. Now yesterday out in the sun it really looked spectacular. But you never know. You see, the thing is, like with these colors, they change in the sun, and that's the beauty of it. And as that goes by on a level lap or in a maneuver, that is going to be like turning on and turning off. Oh, I wanted to be really, really careful about building up a high paint edge here around the edge of the canopy. So far, so good. Now, one of the things that will allow me to do is get some more clear around this. I'm going to get another coat of clear around the edge, because around the canopy is probably where the paint will be the thickest on the whole plane. And I want to get some more on our badges. And by the way, that detailing job on the badges, I think totally, to me anyway, totally changed the look. And that cockpit, that was really, just one pass with the airbrush changes everything there. That's amazing. I think that really will be a nice complement to the yellow. Now, it sounds like it wouldn't be true, but it is true. When you're trying to do a simple paint job without a lot of gobbledygook, see, even if it's a scale plane and you got hundreds of ink lines and shading and everything, you can bury a lot of mistakes. The thing you can't do on a simple job, everything has to be perfect. It's like painting a car black. It has to be perfect. I think I'll wait. It's warming up very quickly out there, so I'm going to wait to get the clear on, but I really am happy with that. That was really a nice little upgrade. Now, when these letters are out in the sun, where that silver is, and of course it just goes right down the middle of the letter, as do our other two Ferrari planes, it has I think, a really nice look. Now, because we've got clear on here and it's dried it's dried overnight, at least one day anyway. What I want to try to do now is using a ruler, I want to outline both sides of the white. Now, it sounds like it would be a lot of work, and you know what? It is a lot of work. But then I'll do the bottom first, of course, and I'll do one letter at a time, or just do all the verticals. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. But the point is, this is one of those little details that if it was warm out there, I might be thinking of skipping this step, but not really. From the get-go of this plane, I have wanted it to be one of my best, and right now, this may take 2 or 3 sessions, but I'm going to make sure all of those have a nice, crisp black line on them. And when you do one, and it's next to one that isn't done, it pops right out at you. And it is a lot of work to do it on both sides. It's something that, well, if you really want to save a lot of time, just buy an ARF. And this continues to give us things that, now see, in the final product, you can't even feel the lines. But getting all of those edges nice and crisp, every corner nice and crisp. A lot of work. Probably take 2 or 3 sessions, depending on how much Javalia coffee I drink. But you know what? But that's the good. See, one of the things about modeling is if you care what it costs you in terms of time, energy, and money, it's not going to be fun. You've got to treat this as if time didn't exist, as if, and the money we spend is so minuscule compared to, well, here's a clue. Go price out a new Ducati and see, or a Harley, and you'll be running back and figuring out, wow, pretty cheap. Now, even though I've worked on this before, it's to my advantage before doing this much ink. This the old talc trick. And thank you, Frank McMillan. It works just as good now as it did 10 years ago. I'm not sure he invented it. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. See, that's the good thing about it. If you pass some of these tips on, it doesn't matter. Nobody's keeping score and sending you a check in the mail. But the equivalent of buffing and waxing the wing with talcum powder, it doesn't matter if some stays on. As soon as you shoot clear, it just disappears as crystal clear as can be. Now, the one thing I tried to do this in the past and it did not work. It was not a really good idea. I tried to just get a coat of clear and then just touch this with 600 sandpaper and you could see the scratches. So I've given up on that. But where I do get a rough ink line, I can go back with the pen itself and just grind down that edge. Now, and again, whenever I'm starting a job that I know is going to take 2 or 3 days or some amount of time, I just get myself comfortable and I don't start thinking about, oh, I got to get this done today, tomorrow, whatever. And actually, one of the benefits of having this unbelievable winter that we've had is you would have no tendency to rush because you want to be inside, not outside. Now, I'm going to try, well, there's no set way to do this, but once I get a little rhythm going, it's going to take time. I do both sides of the letter. And then I detail it out when I'm done that I don't have anything that I'm not happy with. I tried, and it was not a good choice. I tried to do one side of the white, not quite as good, and I don't want anything quite. I want it to be at the best quality I can make. And I'm hoping we're going to have a lot of years of good service with this airplane. And it'll be a good tribute to Mr. Chick. And I've thought about him often during the construction of the plane, and he will have a feather flying around in this plane for the whole life of the plane. Now that I've got all the vertical lines done, it's a good idea. Just let it sit for a minute. If you're really in a rush, you can hit it with a hairdryer. Then I want to do all the horizontal lines, and then I want to pick away and make sure all the corners, edges, angles, everything is exactly as good as I can make it. And it's a big help here to have a clear ruler, that's for sure. One of the things this always teaches me too is that patience pays off. And certainly the patience we've had working on the house. What a year it's been. I see I'm going to have a little repair here. Now I would of course let that dry, and then I want to work in the corners with the fine pen, work in all the corners. I want to try to do one letter at a time, and by doing that, I minimize the chance that something's going to slip by me here. what I like to do is get the razor sharp pen out, the smallest of the pens. I use that for touching up, make sure it's ready, and put a point even bigger than I need on all the letters on the outer edge. Just put just a slightly bigger point on than the wide pen does, so that every corner has a real sharp point. So even little edges like that, I want to get them cleaned up. Anything that's just not going to give me a nice edge. Now you just get a rough idea here. One outlined letter and how it just has a lot more of a dramatic look. Now I could do this all day long, but I'm going to spend the rest of this session, maybe get the bottom done, maybe get one side done. I don't care, because the objective here is high quality, not quantity. Now with one wing panel done, that lettering being outlined like that, very labor intensive, but here's my point. Just look at the difference. It's a totally different look. This to me looks a lot, well, this is more like what I envisioned. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get done tonight, but I'm just going to keep toughing this out. It's going a little bit faster. Well, as I go along, it does go faster, but there's every corner, every edge, everything, and I'm using a big ruler to line up everything, so even the ink lines, when you sight down an ink line, it's perfectly straight. And you would think it's all overkill. No, not really. When you see it in real life, and when people see this in real life, I hope they, well, that they'll enjoy the fruit of my labor here. And that this is truly, this is where you really step up to the plate here. This is really a labor of love from this point on. But we'll get some of the other one done before it's time to quit. Now, believe me, this was not an easy day. This was a lot. I think I nailed it. And we're going to find out, of course. And I think it's still light enough out there. I can only do one side. I can get clear on one side. See, as soon as I get any ink or anything on there, I want something to protect it. Because all you have to do is touch that with Windex, water, a greasy fingerprint, and it's ruined. And then, you know, you've basically got the better part of a day shot. I just want to see if it's still light enough out there I can get the clear on. If I can, that'll be great. Boy, it warmed up. It's already going into that. The next couple of days is supposed to be way above freezing. Oh, I hope they're right. I'm just trying to go over the inked areas here, which would give me some extra over those white lines. I can only do one side till I get the other side inked. But if it's going to be nice tomorrow, I'm going to try to get up really early so I can get this part done. Starting to get exciting now, finally. The idea is that you don't have all that extra clear on the spots that you don't need it on until it comes time to put on coats of clear. Get this built up. I'm not sure you can see the detail in the, because the sun's setting here on me. We're gonna get about another half an hour of sunlight, I think. That's looking good. I'm real happy with that. And once that builds up 4 or 5 coats of clear on there, oh, that's gonna look nice. It's really got the look I was looking for. Has a little bit of the Cardinal family look, and yet it's unique and different in its own way. A little bit of the Ferrari look with the side scoops, and yet it's a unique plane. That's one thing I've been striving for, and I hope I'm ultimately going to have it. Here we're just trying to bury decals and fill in those lines. And each coat, they just get further and further down into the clear. And little by little, we're filling those white little ditches in. Tomorrow we're just hope that we can get at least part of the day a little bit warmer than today, and that clear will just lay right down. It even lays down now. It's a little below freezing, just a tad. Oh, look at this little guy on my back porch. What's this all about? What's this all about? He's got some seeds. What's he eating? What's this? Some food there? Karen put a muffin or something out for him. Oh, man. Glad those contractors left early, huh? That's the ticket to being a happy bird. Get rid of those contractors. Oh, yeah, that's great. Wolf, wolf, wolf. What is he eating here? Berries. He's got something in his mouth here. Spring is coming, guys. Now he's decided to have a bottle of Pepsi. Now what's going on? I got a little adventure going here. What is with this guy? Hey, we feed you guys. We feed you guys every day. Muffins. Now, I know you shouldn't let Wendy pick you up. I know, but you love Wendy. I know. Oh, he's flying around. I think he's hurt, but I'm not sure. He let me pick him up before. I hope he's okay. Hey, you gonna be okay? You gonna be okay, guy? Now you might remember at the Nets, Bruce Hunt getting this baby bird. I can't even tell. I don't even know if he's a baby or not, but he does. He looks sick. But we always try to, we try to do what we can to save him. If you leave him out in this cold weather, he definitely will not make it. He'll be laying on a porch dead tomorrow. So we're going to see if we can. Well, I don't know. This is not a whole lot different from when we first got Chicky. So I don't know. He's much bigger, of course, and he will not imprint with me and think that I'm his mother. So, but if we can save him or keep him alive for a couple of days, I'll feel real good because he's big enough to fly. Actually, he can fly a little bit. Like all great bird adventures, I try to make him a little home. Not sure how sick he is. I'm not sure if he's sick at all. But he's got a little, I made him a little box he could sit in. I think, and I made this little top on a cage because we're going out tonight. We have to go out to one of Pete Weiner, not Pete Weiner's political functions. And we're gonna hope he's, what a crazy thing. Hey, little guy. Hey, come on, you have to be afraid of me. Come on, sit on my hand. Sit on my hand. That's what good birds do, is they sit on my hand. Boy, oh boy, if you only knew how this is breaking my heart when we had, of course, see this, a bird this age, he's sick. He's probably going to be dead when we get home, but we're going to try our best. We got him nice and warm. We got a nice little spot for him in the house. Got some food. Karen's getting him some berries. Little guy. See, he won't survive on a cold day. It's really cold out there. I'm not so sure. So yeah, he's not feeling good. But we'll see. Hey. If you only knew the tradition you're following in bird, you're following in the tradition of Chickadoodle. I don't know. He likes it in there. He's safe in there. So what we're going to do is we have to go out now. We're going to kind of leave this. What are the odds that some adventure like this could happen during the time we're building our plane, a tribute to Chicky? Boy, I'll tell you, it's a little eerie. And we're going to see if he's alive when we get back. Hey, little guy. Oh my God, does this bring back memories? Unbelievable. I didn't make this happen either. This just happened.
Hello.
Look, all dressed up, going to see if Peter Weiner, is that how you say it?
You're saying it right, yes.
Peter Weiner, the new mayor of Secaucus, soon to be mayor.
Almost.
Hey, look at this, I'm wearing a suit jacket. Look at that. Hard to believe, huh? Well, when Karen and I got back from our political function tonight, our little friend had passed away, and in the morning, as I always do with the animals in our little area here, we want to have him buried on our property. Even though we only got to know him one day, he was part of our little tribute plane, a strange little part. And he'll be buried right out where Chicky's little grave is. And I can't tell you what happened to me. It's late at night. What happened to me, it just renewed all of the great memories that I have of the years I had Chicky living in my shop. So, and I just wanted to share that with people while I feel sad like this tonight, that we lost that little guy. I thought we really were going to be able to save him, but he probably was a lot sicker than I thought he was. Anyway, when we get up in the morning, it'll be time to start the whole process over again. Well, this morning we woke up, and the first thing we wake up to is the guys are here, and I think they're going to be putting this material here goes between the blocks. They've got all the lights in. These are all the lights that light up at night. They got lights in front of the garage door. They're all hardwired in already. And I think they're going to start putting that material in, and they're going to try to put the cap on the, I see they're leveling it out already. So while they're doing that, I'm going to try to get the other half of the wing inked, and maybe today and tomorrow are supposed to be warm days. Supposed to get, maybe get some clear on. But we'll see if it's our lucky day. The sun is not out. Sun usually doesn't come out for about another hour. Now, it's always my firm opinion that things look different in the morning. I wanted to flip this over just to confirm my, see that? It does not accent the letters. That extra line, even though it took us a whole day to do that, it may take us the better part of a day today, even though we have a nice early start. Because you never know how much time we're going to be devoting to phone time and how much work's going to be coming in. So, but I know I'm going to commit to getting this done on both sides. That's going to be the primary thing to get done today, and then hopefully get a coat of clear on this. Then I need to basically look around and see if there's anything I want to add or take away or change. And then it'll be a question of getting the clear on. And I'm trying to coordinate it with these next 2 days, but you know what? They changed the prediction. It was supposed to be warm. Now it's warm and good chance of rain, which usually means it's going to be high humidity, and we're not going to, for any money at all, going to want to rush this and try to get this done where I'm going to have to put a lot of retarder in the paint, because I want this to be the minimum amount of errors and the nicest. Well, I just want it all. Simple as that. Now, John Pothier, a couple months ago anyway, he put the screensaver up. It's the new Ducati, and it was kind of there. I wanted it there as a reminder that when you want something, as bad as I want this plane to be really nice, a lot of times patience has to be the primary thing. And in our case, we're trying to be as patient and not skip steps, and certainly if we can take advantage of these next 2 days, great, but if we can't, it'll just have to wait. It's just funny that when you want something special, it's never easy, and if it was easy, everybody'd have a Ferrari or an Enzo or a Ducati or a Tribute or a Spitfire, as Rich Walbridge has found out, I'm sure. And that's what makes a project like this, to me, a lot of fun and very interesting, and I get very passionate about it, because I know in the end this is really going to be something special. So let me get started. Nobody's going to come and do it for me. Get the talcum powder out, wipe, do one side at a time, of course, and through the magic of video, we just repeat everything we did on the bottom. Oh boy, the magic of video is wonderful. You turn around, 30 seconds later, a 3-hour job is done. But as I'm doing this, I just had Karen look at it and review it too. And it's the same, she has the same opinion I do. That's still some talc. She told me take a break, I'm getting cranky. Well, she's right. But you know what? Just that little double ink line around the white, that to me defines it and puts it one step higher up the the appearance ladder, I guess. I don't know. And the reality is, most people, even the guys that judge appearance, they don't realize how much work goes into this. But that's not who you do it for. I'm doing this for me and really for Chicky. Now anyway, it's time to feed the contractors. This takes basically a whole morning to do one of these panels, and I keep thinking, boy, it's been a lot of time, but you know what? Doesn't matter. And I'm totally convinced now this is going to be a very special plane. It's really evolving, and it's taken time. And the little episode that I had yesterday with the baby bird, or the sick bird, I'm not sure what he was, that kind of, in my mind, it just reminded me of why I'm doing this whole project. And it's something that hasn't even left me today. Time to feed the contractors. See, this is that material that they packed around my motorcycle. It's got to sit in and pack in, and what it does, it makes the whole driveway one. I'm sure it's got some kind of cement. He calls it glue, but it's really cement. And look who's back. Oh, losing that bird yesterday really hurt. But as you can tell, they're even flying. See, they're used to this noise now. It doesn't take them long, and they figure food, noise, food, noise. I think they're going to put the cap on today. We should hopefully be able to use the driveway pretty soon. We haven't been able to use the driveway. And this little planter thing is happening over here. This, of course, all has to get sodded and landscaped. No doubt about it, though. This is the machine that the birds don't like. We don't like that yellow machine. There's our sidewalk out in the street. Midgley was looking at the video that I sent him a couple days ago, and he said, "Holy mackerel, Andy." He was impressed. I'm impressed. Now, one of the things we got to do here, see, we have the parts already. All of the windows have a shutter except the last window, and we have to figure some way. The contractor's coming in to figure out a way we can get that shutter behind here. There's not enough room to get it back there. I'm not sure, we just can't take this piece of stuff off. And of course this whole top has to get painted. We'll do that when the spring comes. All of this painting I did down the cellar here. What a winter. Now, as unexpected as a lot of things have been in the last couple days, the guys went to install the lights and found out we don't have the right base plates, and it wasted a big chunk of his day chasing down the base plates that should have come with the lights. But it's too late to cry over spilt milk now. What it's going to do is I may or may not get this finished today, but it's just putting my willpower to the test, because I really do. As the way I'm very happy the way this is coming out, and I don't want to have any temptation to compromise it. I thought in the beginning this was going to be pretty labor intensive, and you know what? I was right. And at least if you know it's coming, a lot of times it's like a little bit easier to deal with anyway. Anyway, just a quick little thing about our friend Peter Weiner. He's running for mayor in the town Karen used to work in, Secaucus. Of course, we're good friends, and he's our personal lawyer. We're trying to help him out. But the fundraiser that we had last night, the night before, it was last night. I lose track of the days. He did very well. He was very happy, and we're wishing him good success there. That's gonna be a big thing if we can see him elected. That'll be a real feather in our hat. Then I think I'm gonna run for dog catcher. And I don't really care how long this takes. Because when it's done, I want it to look just like the good side. And if we can, now the trick would be, if we live in an all-perfect world, is that the humidity stays low today. The temperature is nice for spraying, but I'm not going to rush. But the big advantage here is if you don't have to add any retarder, you don't get penetration. You don't get the finish all softening up. And Richard Oliver, I think, just found it out this year. Better to put a little bit of clear on, let it dry. A little bit of clear, let it dry. You're always way ahead of the game if you let each coat dry out. And that's exactly what we're going to try to do here. Not fall to the temptation. We actually don't have any clear on it. The only clear on here is in the outlines and around our ink. But when it comes time to actually put a coat of clear on everything, I want to make sure the humidity is fine, and hopefully the temperature will cooperate in the next couple of days. But it's always unpredictable. The last thing here, and I am being very meticulous about this, I want to get in every corner on the top with a razor fine pen and just really make those points as pointy as possible. The problem is I'm going blind looking at this little stuff. Because we really can't get out there and shoot any clear. And of course when you get too much, take a razor and just get rid of it. When it's the thin pen, it dries almost instantly. And I'm being ultra fussy on the top here. I think I've put more time into this ink work on this lettering job on this plane. And because it isn't a complex plane like the Spitfire, you know, because you can't hide anything. Everything's got to be perfect. Now, at some point in time today, those guys are going to be done out there, and I'm going to try to sneak out and get some clear shot on this one side. But I can't take a chance because they're grinding away out there and sawing Belgian blocks, and I just don't want to take a chance any of that dust is going to wind up in my paint. And if I can't do it tonight, if they work right to dark, which they do most of the time, I'll just set my alarm, get up real early in the morning before they get here. See, you always have to outsmart them. You can't let them have the upper hand. Well, they're doing some fabulous job, though. It's actually inspired me to want to do better work. When I see a craftsman of any kind working on, like I said, the phone hasn't been too busy today. I lied. All right, here's another sneaking up on us project. The lights that we wanted to have by the barbecue didn't come with base plates, so right in the middle of trying to work on this, I had to run out and get these, and I had to get, well, I got to figure out if the screws are going to fit, and I wanted this to dry before they start working on it, but they want to work on it now, and I wanted to shoot clear, so I'm looking at these two things, and I guess I'm going to be waiting to shoot my clear, but I really did spend a lot of time. This was an incredible effort here. I'm not sure when you see the plane in real life, maybe you'll be impressed. I don't know. Oh, they're grinding and they're putting the last of the rocks in today. Look at this machine, smoking and grinding. You think I'm going to get any clear sprayed today? I don't think so. That way my wife's going to put my body in there. Oh my God. Hey, you guys are closing in on this, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost done.
Unbelievable.
The back should be done by today.
Unbelievable. Now what gets done at? You're going to grade this out? Is that? And then what? You're not going to put sod in yet, are you?
No. We're gonna. Well, first we're gonna grade everything out before it's all leveled.
Right.
And then.
And you can't do any planting till the spring comes, right?
Actually, we might be able to get some planting done. We go ahead and do it. Like that, we're getting ready for. I don't know when Jose or Bill want to put in the plants.
Yeah.
But they could be put down already.
And that cement holds the edge from moving out?
Yeah.
All cemented in already? The lights are in?
Yep. We just got well, that gets covered with either sod. I guess we're putting in here.
Yeah, he's going to sod the whole front. Yeah.
So that's going to get covered.
Yep.
And that side is going to be plants, so that's going to get covered.
Yeah, some kind of little plant in there.
Yeah.
Karen's little design. I wish it would rain for 2 days. All this mud would wash away.
Now we're going to have to borrow the power washer.
Well, if you want it, I'll get it. I got a power washer.
It's...
No, I got a good one too. You hook it up, you power wash your truck even if you want to.
Yeah, we got power washers, but I don't think we're going to have to do that.
Well, I got to do it because I want to paint the side of the house where the bricks are. But that's no big deal. I like power washing. Oh, a body would fit right in there. We got some criminal we could put right in that hole, boy. Use them for fertilizer. Yeah, maybe it'll be me. See, this is the side of the house, the old bricks. All has to be power washed, all cleaned up. They're already used. We'll be able to use a driveway tonight. But see, the thing is, we never were able to open a door of our car. The driveway was just the width of a car. You had about 1 inch on each side. Now it's perfect. These lucky dogs had pizza for lunch. They didn't even invite me to have a slice either. Oh, look at this. That pizza was good, huh?
Yeah.
and all this stuff fills in. They got the limestone cap on our little privacy wall. Oh man, look at the quite the adventure. They're working up on getting the rocks in place. These are all the rocks George and I got 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I think. Edge everything out. Beautiful. What work. Everything back here is edged with concrete now. Now for Karen and I, it's like a dream come true. It's been a long time coming. I'm gonna have to make me a new fish filter here, of course. That's one thing we had to bite the bullet on. Well, the corporate decision was they are going to work late tonight. They want to finish up the back part of the house, and I don't want to be in their way, and there's no way you can do anything with the dust out there. So I think what the plan will be is we'll get up early tomorrow morning and see if we can shoot some clear on this. But let me do a little dissertation as to how I want to go about it from this point in the job on. It's easier to do a storyboard. Plane you have, unless you're monocoating it or putting some kind of film coating on. There's a point. If you were to take and paint, and I've said this before, I call it selective finishing. If you were to take and just paint the plane, starting one color, you're going to paint the plane orange. No trim at all. You paint it orange. You've got enough paint on there. And you come along with the clear. And you would only need an equal amount of clear over the whole plane. Well, but the only problem with that is, most of the time, the planes that we build, if I'd make this very simple, let's say you have a paint line here. I'm just going to make this pretty simple. These are paint lines. You got a star on a tail, whatever, and a fancy canopy with a lot of little flakes in it. Well, what you want to have is, what I want to do is answer the phone. Look at this phone, I don't believe it. Now the idea is the difference between putting on one coat of clear on everything and what we've tried to do is just put on coats of clear here, here, and I've gone over this so many times, but it's one thing that, if you have this concept in your mind, this is what makes a 10-ounce finish an 8-ounce finish. It's now if you look at it and say you even put, like I do, I put more on a canopy. What happens is you don't have the extra clear in areas that you don't really need it. And if you map this out, the fancier a paint job is, the more clear you have to put over these edges, of course. Now we have a relatively simple thing, and we're still struggling to get at 7 ounces, or in the case that we were sloppy, it'll be 8. But selective finishing is such a key part of, well, it's actually part of the design of the plane. Because if you knew you were going to put 10 ounces of finish on, there's things you could do like making the nose longer, but then that induces the props further from the CG, you get more yaw. It's always better to do it right. It's like this, you know, it's like being fat. If you're fat, you can always buy bigger shoes and clothes, but it's better not to be fat. Now we always start off a plane, hopefully, if we can use, and we like to do, in a perfect world, if you had very little trim and everything was perfect, you could put 1/4 clear. Add as much thinner as you want, divide it up however you want. On a bigger plane, and this is somewhere in between, probably realistically 1.25 quarts. Now what'll happen is we'll have this last 1/2 quart. We haven't even gone and used much of this yet, but we'll have this last 1/2 quart. If we sand through in a lot of spots and then have to do touch-ups, which we almost always have to, and then bury that part back in clear, Well, yeah, because if you use this half quart of clear, you know, for instance, that you've sanded a lot of it off. Now, this would assume that you're going to be a little wimpy on sanding. If you're doing a quart and a half, you're going to be aggressive about sanding. Now, this was the old-fashioned way, and this way actually still works pretty good. It's especially good if you have a one-piece plane. If you have a one-piece plane, and I guess that's not really the best one-piece plane, but what happened? Let's take the olden days. You have an old Cardinal, and you basically want to do a pretty nice paint job, but you see, this is the part that's difficult to explain to people. It isn't how many coats you put on. And as Bob Brookins says, Windy, one coat is 10 coats. He's right. It doesn't matter how many coats you put on. What matters is the total amount of material. An example is if you eat Oreo cookies, if you eat one every hour or you eat 10 at the end of the day, it's probably going to be the same amount of calories and you're going to get the same weight. Oh, anyway, assuming we're going to have a quart and a half. Let's make that we're going to have a quart and a half, because I know everybody in the world can relate to this. If you have a one-piece plane and you're ready to do the clear, there's a real easy way you can set this up. Take this amount of clear. Start with that amount of clear. Add, and roughly, this is 2 quarts thinner. Brodak thinner. Now, if you can get away with using no retarder, even better. This amount, if you have one big kimchi jar or one big can or something, an empty thinner can is a perfect place. If you divide it into 3, get 3 glass jars, make them all equal, and this is the old Big Jim way of doing it, and it still works good. You put the plane on the rotisserie, turn it upside down, and put one of these amounts on the bottom, kind of let it dry off, turn the rotisserie around, which we don't have to do when we have a multiple piece plane, and put this on the top. So you have 2/3 of the material on the top. That's where most of your ultraviolet's going to go anyway. That way gets you in the ballpark. Here's the one thing you never want to do, and this is the simplest thing, and I'm not even gonna mention a name here because it's somebody who may not want to be mentioned. You know what happens is, if you're building a scale model, of course, it doesn't matter. Or a model that you're not going to compete with, yeah, you just want to fly around in circles, no problem. But I think you'll figure out who this is without me mentioning a name. Every year, I would get the call, hey, my new plane is coming out blank. And I'd say, boy, you're going to have 60, 62 ounce plane, maybe a 65, the worst. Oh, yeah, it's going to be 60 ounces. It's going to be 60 ounces. Yeah. Oh, what color did you paint it? Oh, I painted it white. Well, white's going to add a lot of weight. Well, okay, but you're going to be real careful about, I'm going to paint it white. No problem. After painting the whole plane white, now, you know what? I decided to paint it like an American flag because, boy, you know, I got this great paint job in my mind. I'm going to paint red over white, and I'm going to put stripes all over it. And then I got this other great idea in a dream I had that I'm going to put stars all over it too. Now I got to cover it with clear. Well, now I'm not going to bother that windy thing of putting clear on a trim. That only saves an ounce. So I'll just clear this whole plane, and you pretty much can figure out all these edges and everything are going to come up through the clear. So rather than a quart and a half, you wind up putting 3 or maybe even 4 quarts of clear on. Then when it's all done, gee whiz, I didn't realize, you know, I want to put some of that fuel-proof stuff up on the nose. So I'll paint everything here. Now, final day comes. Well, hi, how much does the plane weigh? Well, it's now 75 ounces. It's now got, you can't even put enough nose weight in it. And granted, it's a pretty plane, but it just right at the very end, it's like being in a football game, down to the last quarter, the last 2-minute play, and you just give it away. So if you follow these simple rules that I've tried to put on here, I don't say they would work for everybody. They have worked for me. They have allowed me to build what I think is a lifetime collection of planes that I have all over the house. And in reality, they're in Texas and Massachusetts and Pennsylvania and who knows, and Sweden, who knows where else. It's allowed me to build those planes in a reasonable way without having $1 million shop, without having $1 million worth of tools, just by using a lot of common sense technology, and this is one of them. You can't get to the very end of this on the 10-yard line and put on 4 quarts of clear. If you do that, almost guaranteed you'll be disappointed somewhere down the road. Well, one of the things I really like about how we work at the shop here is we're able to loan out some parts that would be hard to make for other people. And right now our friend Bob Green, who's building a Spitfire, wanted to borrow the top and the bottom, the turtle deck molds. So that's going to be something that we can loan him and share his adventure. He's already sending us pictures of other projects he's working on, and what I need to do is just find a box appropriate for that. But I always thought that's one of the nice things about molded parts. Otherwise you'd be carving and plus you're wasting wood, you're wasting time. And these molds have been around. Now you may think this is just a model railroad. No. Here's the cool thing, and this is one of the things when Mike designed this. You look under here and it's a junk storage area. We never go under here. But this is just, I think, pretty amazing. Look at that, all those old DVDs. But one of the things that's back here, it's a vacuum bagging machine. There's a box of molds. There they are up there. Bob, I gotta step up to the plate here. There's boxes and boxes of stuff. But I know you're gonna use them for your Spitfire and enjoy them. I forgot we had a whole tub of kit parts. Here's molds and plugs. Look at this stuff. This stuff within stuff. There's the bomber fuselage molds in there. You never get to see this on Windy Video. This is underneath the train layout. How many molds? Oh, I just fell over. How many molds, how many extra cowlings are in here? How many? This is pretty pathetic. Oh my God. Crutches, molds, and somewhere in here is what our friend is probably in the next. Oh, large mold supplies. Oh, goody grape nuts. There's the mold right there. It's in that tub right there. Bob, I'm stepping up to the plate for you here, baby. I found the molds I thought were up there were not up there. I found one. This is the original Spitfire cowl, but I didn't find the turtle deck one and the top block one, which I thought were in there, but they weren't. So I got to do a little investigative surgery here for Bob. I'm not sure where they are. But I have been prone to lose things. Well, there's what's left. Pitch darkness. They work till after dark, but I need to get some clear over these letters. Now, believe me, we are under the gun here. These guys work till after dark. They actually finished up outside to the point where we're going to be able tomorrow to put cars in the driveway, not tonight. Tomorrow we're going to put cars in the driveway. They had put that last cement down. We're still trying to find Bob Green his mold, but I want to get some clear on this. It's after dark, and then I'm going to hit the hay. And we only have to go over the new ink work and the white ditches. What is that up there? Don't tell me we have it. No, just dust. Okay. Now, the only reason I'm really putting a push on here is because they said, even though it's supposed to warm up tomorrow, that big snow or big rain is headed our way too. So I don't want to be landlocked here. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to have to take a break from this project for a day or two, or maybe 2 days. I have to do some electrical work in the backyard and some wiring in the garage, and it would be real nice if when I was doing that, some of the clear was dry, and even this clear that I'm getting on tonight. And it's just over the white and just over the letters. We actually have not put a coat of clear on this yet. And I just wanted to get one more quick coat on the decals. And that's it for tonight. These I can do up here. Just burying everything in clear. And when we put the real coats of clear on here, we want to do it in bright sunlight if possible. But as soon as we do, we're going to start thinning out each coat with more and more thinner, so it'll lay right down. But the parts that need several coats, where the stripes are and where the decals are, it'll be very thin in some spots, very thick in other spots. But we're still shooting for that 7-ounce weight. And I call that, and I wanted to do a dissertation on it, but we didn't have time today, of how to do selective clear. And it's really the only way I know of that you're going to get front row finish for 7 ounces. If you just put equal amounts of clear on a whole plane equally, you almost always come out 8 or 9 or 10 ounces or more. Better than 50-50 chance this warm weather's going to bring big rain, and if it cools off, big snow. Boy, those guys glad they got as much work done outside as they did. Sure. Oh, another thing too, this whole thing with doing the clear selectively like this didn't happen overnight or in one shot or 2 shots. I've been working on trying to make this a practical way to finish for a lot of years, and I think finally we've gotten enough of the do's and don'ts and enough of the videos, and that I think almost everybody that's been meticulous about it has been able to do it. And the canopy's starting to look nicer and nicer. See, each time you put a coat of clear on, that candy apple reflects up deeper and deeper, that Brodak candy apple blue. It's going to look nice in the sun. As I got the amount on here, as I feel it, this will be the last coat, and then this will be ready for a coat of clear. But then we're not going to put it on thick like this. It's going to go on thinner and thinner with each coat. And if we hit some rain, we're not going to be able to paint. Rain or snow, because I'm going to try to do the whole job with no retarder if possible. And that, of course, is a worthy goal of any center. Now, we've had to improvise like never before, but I think we've been able to do it. And we're ending this day on a really positive note. That should be the end of our clear that's going to go underneath The coats are clear, and it's getting cold again already, and as that heat is going to kick on, should be nice and dry tomorrow, and we'll just have to see what the weather and what the rest of this construction job is going to hold for us. Every day's an adventure. No two the same. As the weatherman predicted, today is warming up, but it's supposed to get rainy this afternoon. So the first thing we're going to do, well, I want to get the first coat of clear. You can see how much they've got all the edging on. They're going to be working on landscaping now, and we're going to be working on doing some painting. Some of this stuff has to be painted. But basically the biggest problem now is we have a lot of sand and grit on this that has to come off. And it'll come off little by little as, well, especially if we get some rain. Oh, it's just nice knowing it's not 30 degrees out here. It's probably 35 already, and it's supposed to go to 40, so we're excited. I hear birds chirping. First time in a long time I've heard the birds out in full force. And we're going to try to get that clear on first thing, and then if it rains, hey, it'll be downstairs cooking. And we got 2 of the lights put in. We got to put the 3rd one back by the pond. That'll be, well, today's job, and we're going to be doing a lot of electrical work. We're going to be adding some outlets, putting outlets in the garage. We've got that big wire going under the pavers now, so if we want to, in the future, when we do our garage renovation, we want to put electric heat in there, we'll have that option. And this, of course, on the side of the house is ultimately going to be Karen's vegetable garden. Oh, I feel a breeze coming up. I better get in gear. Let's have that Javalia coffee and get in gear here, guy. Get that clear on before it clouds up. Now, this will actually be the first coat of clear on, basically on the whole part. I'm trying to determine if the wind is going to be blowing that way. So, and we're just hoping. It's the hope of hope that we can get the clear on without adding any retarder in. So the first step is to do my little test one of the small parts, let it dry for a half an hour. While it's drying, I'll have a cup of coffee. I'll move some of this junk out of the way here, and we will be, if it dries in a half an hour, we're going to go put 1 coat of clear on everything. And again, this is our temporary work area because, well, ultimately we're going to get a piece of indoor-outdoor carpet, so there's no way we can, when we're painting out here, drip on our pavers. Oh, Karen will kill me. I know Bob Brookins is probably saying, oh, that's more than 1 coat of clear. Well, maybe it is. But I want the whole part to be wet. The next coat will have even a little more thinner in it. It'll dry even shinier, but that's already looking pretty good. And that color out in the bright sun, I know you can't see it on the video, but it is a really, really nice shady yellow. I don't know if you can hear all these birds. It must be spring. Spring is in the air. Hey, they are everywhere. It's got to be mating season or something. And what I'm trying to get is one wet coat, and this certainly will have to dry minimum overnight, but we got so much other work to do out in the yard here, that's fine. I really feel like, except for the fact that the weather is supposed to rain or snow, has that feeling of spring is in the air. And it's not warm. It just feels a lot warmer than it used to be the last, oh my God, 2 months. Oh, here comes the sun. I can't believe it. Oh, when you've been housebound as much as we have. Oh, look at that sun coming out. I don't believe it. Oh, we are really lucking out with this day. I don't know if it's our lucky day or not. We're going to find out. But of course, the weather can always turn on you. But if we get this clear on, then my dream come true of letting it dry at least one day between coats with the heating vent on. Also, when you put the clear on in a lot of thin coats, it really saves a lot of sanding. When it comes down to do the 1200 sanding or the 1500, whatever's going to work best on this, you really pay me now or pay me later. And I'm so glad we outlined this decal. That's adding a nice little touch that we didn't have before. Look at that sun. Oh my God. I haven't seen the sun all winter. All winter I'm out here. Come on, sun. Don't go behind the clouds. There we go. Come on, sun. Oh, the sun is so nice. Now as we add a little bit of thinner to each coat, you're going to see that's going to get shinier and shinier, nicer and nicer. It'll definitely minimize the sanding. And we just couldn't be luckier with this sun and this weather. Oh man, I do not want to waste this time. And if it's nice like this and we don't have to add any retarder to the paint, we are really going to be in the driver's seat here. So far, nothing's fogged up. Our test port was perfect. But of course, the relative humidity during a day can change very quickly, which is why I hope next year we have a dedicated spray booth with a dehumidifier, and we'll be working out in the garage next year if all goes well. If it's my lucky day. here comes the wind. Now you knew the wind was coming up. Anytime you go to spray the wing, you know the wind is going to be not your friend. And it's actually changed direction now too. Just to make it a little more interesting. And of course, even now, I'm trying to get a little extra on the decal. Extra on the edges. Trying to get the sun right at the right spot. Oh good, here come the garbage men. Lucky me. Oh, look at the wind blowing now. Oh man. You think I could have beat this by a little bit? The wind's changing, it's blowing all over the place now. I wasn't sure how I'd like those scoops being in black, but they look pretty good anyway. They're bumped out. I'm sure they'll look fine. Canopy is just sparkling away. Just like in my vision of the plane. Maybe if you're so smart, how come you're not rich? Oh, that wind is blowing now. We're gonna have a windy day on our hands here. Sure, it's gonna be fun doing the wing. Oh man, why couldn't it just stay calm for another half an hour? Birds, do you approve? Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate that little inside the cowling area. It's changing direction on me. Oh, man. Wow, this is gonna be difficult. Oh, wind, don't blow for about 10 minutes. Please, please, please. This wind, unbelievable. I think maybe I can get this closer up against the house. All of a sudden, it's blowing like a storm out here. And we really have no choice. It just came up out of nowhere, and I realized what I should have done is done the wing first. But I always like to do the little parts first. That's maybe we're coming up with a new philosophy here of how to do this. I'm not sure. Not going to be able to paint outside in that wind. That's why it's going to be nice to have a spray booth next year, I think. Assuming it all goes as planned and we can financially afford it. Now the whole trick is I want to let this air out a little bit, and then I want to get down on my knees and do the other part. This is one time we've really had to improvise a lot on this plane, way more than normal. But you got to do what you got to do. The Marines have to always be flexible. Don't open the door. I'm painting. Keep the door shut. Yeah, now it's difficult. There's a lot of spots when you do it hanging like this that you don't get. And the outer tip is one of them. Now Karen's going out shopping, so it won't really matter if this stink is in a house for a little while. It's usually a stink for half a day, but part of the price of being a Marine. All right, now, the other part I didn't get before. That's all we're going to get done today. The rest of the day we're going to spend working out in that yard, trying to do some raking and cleaning and organizing, and I got to clean out the garage among other things. Clean everything up. It is so dusty and dirty out there. I'm really looking forward to a cleanup. Even if it rains, it'll be an upgrade, because it's all the grit that's on the sand when they do pavers that winds up coming in a house and ruining hardwood floors, of course. This is not funny. I have fixed these angels. These angels sit in our hot tub, and every time Karen gets in or out of the hot tub, these angels take a they take a tumble. Thank God for Brodak CA. These angels have more Brodak CA on them. And eventually, we're just going to have to repaint them too. Actually, they're real nice, but boy, are they delicate. And that's what I like about being a modeler. There's an awful lot of things you can do around the house that, you know, some poor person that's not a modeler and has tubes of CA and whatever, you can't do this. And just like that, we have a repaired angel. Isn't that amazing? See, this is what Karen likes about being married to a modeler. She can break things constantly, and it's not a problem. I break things constantly. But we can fix all these little trivets around our Victorian home. I got to get out to the garage and get started on this project. Take advantage of this nice day. Well, it didn't take long before the weather turned on us. But I got that coat of clear on, and I spent the whole day out here hosing and cleaning and power washing, and my God, and cleaning out the garage. Oh, it feels so good to be done with that dust. Oh, dust and dirt and grit and grind. And, anyway, it's time. We got to, we're hoping we're not going to see this lawnmower. And no lawnmower, no snow blower, no nothing. Boy, once this, I power washed this. I got that great little power washer, that little Honda guy. Boy, is that thing handy. And we're having friends come over for dinner tonight. They'll be the first one to see this. Karen was the first one to park in our driveway, just like we really were citizens. I can't wait to see this when it's all. Karen's got we've got a whole couple days of cleaning up, mounting the grill. I got to do the electrical work tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be electrical day. Gut out these beds, get some new flowers in there. And this is the first day. This is the first day in, my God, I'll bet it's been 2 months or maybe more, that the ice is receding. We have more water than ice. It's almost unbelievable. This is a unique thing to see the ice melting away. Global warming in effect. What a day. This is from Jim Southworth. Check this out. Now, this is really, I can picture who this could happen to. Oh man, can you picture that happening to somebody? Shut up. That is priceless. Made my day complete. This is from Jim Southworth. Holy, look at this. Unreal. I think I'll buy this instead of my private jet, the private windy. Look at this. I still like that old lady setting off the airbag. That was great. Yep, no traffic getting out to Brodax this year. We just stowed a helicopter, put Banjock in the trunk, put Midgley in the front. Wow, that is cool. Very, very cool. Commute to the flying field to see the wild hogs. There goes Natavio taking off in his private helicopter. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Visit our website. That's pretty cool. Now today, our main goal today is we have to run out to Lowe's and get all the supplies to do all the final wiring on our backyard before it snows. It's supposed to snow or rain tomorrow, so going to try to get this this wiring done. I'm not a really licensed electrician, but I want to get it done. That was some pretty cool helicopter footage, I have to admit. That was very cool. Well, it get cold as can be today, but again, we want to try to beat the what's coming. They said a big storm might be coming tomorrow. I got to go get all the supplies. See, this is what we have power and everything outside now. We just have 100-foot extension cord running over there. I need to make, well, I got to install 4 switches. I need to be able to turn, these are all lights, by the way. There's 48 of them scattered throughout the pond area and out in the front of the house. They all have to be on individual switches and timers so that this whole thing lights up at night. And it's going to be a big job, but I thought, well, you know, I'll get started early today, do my email first, get down to Lowe's, get all supplies I need, and get cranking. Boy, but it really looks nice. See, the only problem is when you do this grouty stuff, there's sand everywhere, and it's gritty until you get 4 or 5 rainstorms where that all starts to sink in. But every day it's looking better, and we're really looking forward to when they do the planting. Probably another couple of weeks will be warm enough they can do some planting, I hope. Now, because it's still pretty cold out there and the heating vent is on, I'm going to be giving this a whole extra day to dry, not even thinking about getting any more clear on it. It's this first coat of clear that I think, and it's my own little idiosyncrasy, I like this to really shrink out, dry up, get dry to the touch. One more coat of clear, and then I'm going to try to just lightly sand the decal areas. And they're almost buried, almost. Almost doesn't count. Everything's drying up nice, and boy, the canopy, I'm not sure you can see it on the DVD, but the canopy really has a nice glow to it, which in the sun looks even better. And if you do have time, and of course we always have time, there's no doubt about it, in this time of year, an extra day of drying, what it's going to buy me is when this material, each coat gasses out and the next coat goes on, it gets a hardness. Dope gets a hardness as it gets older and older. So rather than just pretend it's a sandwich, that the last piece of bread gets hard, when you let it dry out in between coats a little bit, I think, and I've found in the past, that when it comes to that final sanding and buffing, you save a lot of time. And I mean, there's really no rush. It's still, at night it's still below freezing. We still have some ice on the pond, so I don't know where I'm going. Rich Jacobone is still skiing. He's getting home today. We may go over and see how his Strega project's coming out. Yeah, everything's, see, it's even starting to get a little glow on it. As the decals get buried, and that's of course what you have to do, they have to be buried to where you rub your hand over them and you can't even feel them. Oh, that's nice. So this day is just going to be a electrical work, and I hope by tonight I can turn switches on. And see, all those wires are just, they don't even have wire nuts on them. We just got them twisted together so we could see if they light up. And I am not a good electrician. That's one of my, like soldering tanks, one of my weaknesses, but I got to step up to the plate today. Karen said she wants switches by tonight. That's our goal. Now, one thing about doing electrical work that I've found is no matter how careful you are and whatever list you work off, no matter how many switches you buy, no matter how many wires, no matter what you bit, for sure, somewhere in the job you're going to run out of something. And in this case, part of this job we contracted out. We did not contract out the wiring part because Karen didn't know how she wanted the switches set up. So she figured, oh, Wendy's a portfolio. I love wire nuts. I feel like such an electrician here. Now, from all my years of renovating houses, this is going to be a pain in the ass. That's what it's going to be. Oh, man. It's not like modeling. See, the difference is this stuff, everything, just not fun. Just not fun. Karen's gloves, got some extra paint brushes. We don't use these, we'll use them on epoxy. Got me a new fish because somebody borrowed my fish and never gave it back. Looked all over, couldn't find it. And by the way, cool. We found out that Rich Walbridge was the last one to borrow the molds for Bob Green. So now there's going to be Bob Green and Rich have linked up. They got another Spitfire will be coming our way. You saw some of Bob's pictures on this earlier on this video. And he's already got his Spitfire started, so. And we're going to get started on electrical work. But I'm not sure this is going to be as much fun as building a Spitfire. In fact, I know it's not. It's just always fun looking back at these jobs once they're over with, but the day you got to do them, not quite as much fun.
Very nice model of a Spit. Wendy's favorite aircraft. Okay, that's a bird-eye view of most of the airplanes that are here for judging. Again, on this side is the RC. And on the opposite side, down there, are the control lines.